Welcome back to Let's Talk About Confidence. I'm John M. Walsh, and today we're doing something different. Instead of me talking about confidence, you're going to hear it in action. My guest today is Adam Wright. In 2020, at 26 years old, Adam took his savings and opened a barn gym in Cambridgeshire. 5 years later, he's 31, with 5 gyms, 4 across Cambridge and 1 in Ireland. What I love about Adam's story is that it's not about overnight success or natural born confidence. It's about building it, testing it, and sometimes losing it, which is exactly what the podcast is about. Adam, welcome.
Thank you very much, John.
So could you take me back to 2020? What were you doing before the barn gym?
Yeah, so before setting up the barn, I'd worked in fitness for the majority of my adult life, and really, starting back in kind of commercial gyms and even, from actually leaving college, it was kind of the interest of going into fitness some way, some form, somehow. Not really knowing what that path would lead to at that point. I don't think you ever would know in future sight, but I think having various kind of different roles and jobs, position, locations as well has been very much kind of a learning curve, and it's kind of accumulated over the years to get me to the position where, in 2020 we could start to think about opening a barn and opening a gym and doing that. On the site of where we've built the first barn, that was always kind of it was my family farm, so family home. And there was always that kind of, it would be very cool to do a gym there, that'd be very amazing to do, but wouldn't have the knowledge, the confidence, the resources to be able to do that at that age. And I think over the years you kind of compound your skill set, knowledge and understanding of things to then, I suppose, be in the position where you can do that. So that's kind of what got us to that point.
What made you think, at what point did you go, I could run a gym, I could do this?
So I think I'd done various management positions previously through leisure management, through managing my own personal training business as like a self-employed personal trainer. And then actually, moving to London and then latter Australia, where I was managing a team of personal trainers for quite a big operation. And I think that gives you that sort of confidence to say, okay, well, I understand how the business operates, I understand how to manage a team, and you get naturally to that sort of position where you think, actually, I could give it a go. And, it's an opportunity and an itch that you want to scratch. Yeah,
I get that. You build up to it. And I guess this is the part where I know when we spoke about it before, it was like you used your own savings to set this up. You've been saving hard. What was going through your head? Were you confident? Were you terrified? Both. What was the minute when you go, I'm taking my own money and I'm going to invest it in this? What was the story?
Yeah, I think, naturally there's risk with anything, and there's a lot of money to be done when you're setting anything up or building, in our case. And, the savings that I had were very much kind of my life's work to that date, right? So it was kind of this is everything that's been accumulated over a certain period of time. And at that point, it's like, okay, well, it is a risk. However, it's a risk that I'm going to back myself to do. And if I'm going to do it, I'm going to go all in and just give it the best go that I've got. And if it goes tits up, essentially, if it goes tits up, that's okay, because I've at least tried, and I've at least sort of said, okay, well, the absolute worst thing that happens is I move in back at home and I, go and PT in a local gym, and I've started at zero again. But I think it takes that kind of, I suppose, just backing yourself sort of confidence to say, you know what, screw it. If it costs money, if it costs time, if it costs effort, it's worth it if you believe in it.
Yeah. Did anybody try and talk you out of it?
Yeah. I think people do, because there's that quite obvious financial risk. I think there's the obvious of, giving up maybe what you've accumulated. I was in a very good position at the age of 25, 26, or whatever it was at that point in my life. And the idea of kind of throwing it all in to set up the barn, as it was, that's a relatively unproven concept in a very, rural area at the time. Yeah. It's kind of like, why would you do that? But I think ultimately you have to just say, okay, well, if that's what I want to do, ultimately the buck stops with me at everything at that point. It's not down to me to listen to others who maybe haven't got the same life experiences or point of view that I would. So you have to be willing to kind of go against the grain sometimes, I think.
That takes a bit of courage at times, doesn't it, to do that? And I think it's, for me, for those that have described the gym, it is in a farm building. Very, very nice. It's the farm building, and it is in the middle of the country. It's between two villages, really. And I'm often reminded of the movie Field of Dreams. If you build it, they will come. And and there's just something, I think, in your story that felt like you believed in it so much that it would come, and to your credit, it is a success. It has worked so much so that you could open others. So think that whole 5 years of building the business, life isn't all about roses, is it? When was your confidence at its lowest? What happened that you went, this isn't?
I think there's definitely different points. It is a very kind of ebbs and flows and cycles. I think your confidence can dip when you're not sure on the direction that you're going in. And I think when you've got that kind of certainty of where you want to go, you don't necessarily need to have the perfect picture of what that destination is.
Oh, that's interesting.
But when you have kind of a passion for the vision and the kind of project that you want to aim towards, I think your confidence will be super high. And equally, the other side of that is when you're not too sure on what the next steps are and how you're going to get there. To me, that's probably when I'm not necessarily always lower in confidence, but maybe a bit more like frustrated and I suppose like agitated, because it's like, okay, how do we do this? So it's like a challenge to overcome. And I think I see when there is low confidence, it's more of a challenge to understand, like, why do you maybe feel not as confident in a particular area, and then what are those barriers to overcome? I'm quite logical as a person, so I prefer to see those things as less emotional in terms of confidence and more logical outcomes where I can.
I said there was something you said that was just circling back to that, not having a full picture. Because I think, tell me if this is your experience, but a lot of folks will think they've got to have the perfect picture, all the parts in place before they'll do something. But that, in your experience, obviously that wasn't the case. Do you see that in some of the clients that you maybe have, that they're trying to wait for perfect?
Absolutely.
Really?
Our clients are, I think every human nature is to want perfection and to want it instantly. And I think the sooner that people come to be able to manage expectations in various forms, the more satisfied I think people will become, because you're not kind of chasing the unattainable at that point, but they're not chasing kind of this, I should have this, or I should be doing this. It's more of, or I could be doing that. It's like, maybe if you want to do it, then understand that, what's a realistic time frame to do things, or what's the steps to achieve that. And I think if you've got a good management of your emotions and a good management of your expectations, more often than not, things can happen a lot more efficiently, but you'll probably enjoy the journey a lot more, because you're not putting so much. I think you do need pressure. You do need that kind of pressure to be like, I need it to be done and I need it to progress to a certain way, somehow, some form. But equally, you have to be mindful of the journey that you're on to be able to do that. Otherwise, you would just kind of be a bit blind to the real kind of path.
And how do you define that pressure? Because I think a lot of folks get scared by the word pressure. They might maybe sometimes confuse it with stress versus pressure. How, for you, what does pressure mean?
I think pressure comes when there are things that you can control, and you want those to be performing as best as you can. So, pressure when we open a new gym, that's my busiest time, and I am stressed, and I am extremely busy working with the team that we've got. However, I'm fully aware of that pressure, and I want that pressure. Like, I chase it because I love it, because I feel more fulfilled when we've got a project, and I feel that my team are getting better at their job, and they're like under pressure. And I think there's a fine balance of that between, like, you don't want to be just completely stressed all the time. You don't want to be running people to the red zone at all cost. But pressure to progress is a good thing, and you should be seeking that, I think, to improve and make, developments for where you want to get to.
I guess it didn't start like that, does it? You don't say, I suppose when you started your first job, you weren't seeking the pressure. Maybe that's wrong with me. I suppose what you were seeking was the improvement, but the pressure, do you think the pressure, because I know, with the 5th gym opening, you're probably getting used to it.
So. I mean, they all have their own challenges.
Yeah.
We've got a way of doing an opening now, but it can always be better, for sure. And, I think for anyone in any job, position, career, whichever, I think you have to have a level of wanting to do better at what you're doing. And whether that's someone that's just come off their personal training course and has no idea what an exercise is, to someone who's been doing it for 10, 15 years, the kind of will and want should be the same if you're going to, make progress. It's just the things that are relevant to you at that particular time in your journey are very different, potentially. And what you have to embrace is the compound effect of learning and progressing. And it's not going to be perfect, but it should be progressive. Yeah.
Again, it's back to that, not looking for perfect, just looking for what's the next step sort of thing, isn't it? Which is it. I mean, one of the things that fascinates me, because I see the big sign in the barn that says 2020 and opening during COVID.
So we built during COVID, and then we were due to open the first week of Jan. And
no way.
Loads of pre-sale and everything was already spent on setting the new gym up.
Yeah.
Boris shuts the doors and say we can't open until March, and I'm like, oh fuck it. So that was a bit nervy. That was probably one of the scarier times, I think. But kind of built in COVID, and just got stuck in after.
What point did you go, this is working, so let's expand, let's do more? What kind of...
I think we were operating really well for the first year and a half. And we kind of found our feet. I think the struggle was just finding the right space, finding a model that's really scalable. So we made a few changes to the business that allowed us to just sell one product, essentially. And just it allowed the whole team, culture, everything just to focus on one thing, which, business is hard, let alone trying to do multiple different products and things in business. So if you can just get everyone pulling in the same direction on one thing, it makes your life a lot easier. And then you say, okay, well, how do we help more people? And we've gone from one gym that maybe helps sort of 150 to 200 people at a time to now 5 that probably does 750 or so across the group. So I think it's that kind of, if you want to do more, you need to figure out how you do it, and then there's challenges that come with scale naturally. So your point there of saying, going from 5 to 6, it's potentially a bit easier now.
Got you.
Going from 5 to 6 from a central operation is now going from 5 to 6 as a central operation is going to be a little bit trickier, because there's going to be more central demands than there would be at 4 or 5. So
I know what you mean. Ireland, that was a surprise to me when you shared that with me. You were moving, because I could get the round Cambridge, because it's all kind of within your control. Was there anything about that you were a bit slightly worried about?
No, I mean, that's, it's different operationally, because you're going into a completely different area, but I'm very fortunate that I get to do that with one of my best mates. And, that's a really cool experience, actually, because, business is hard, it can be stressful, but if you get to do it with the right people, it's pretty amazing. So, the team that we have is amazing, and I love being able to go into the gyms and chatting to the guys that we have each and every day. And I think with Ireland, that's really exciting, because Kevin and I have known each other for the best part of 8 to 10 years now, whichever it is. So, we know how each other works and operates and what makes us tick. And I'm really excited for that. I think that's going to be a really big project in the next 5 to 10 years for where we're going to take that. So it's very cool.
What does that do to your confidence? The fact that you had it under, I don't want to use the control because you're not like that, but you had it under an area where you could visit and see and get on top of it, whereas all of a sudden you've got to get in a plane, you've got to go somewhere else. What's that do to your confidence?
I think the people that we have in the business give me confidence.
Right, yeah.
So I don't think it's necessarily about it is about my confidence in the business and the operation, but I think equally I have to have confidence that people have got the culture and they've got the skill set to be able to do what's required for everyone's interests. So I would rather empower my team to learn, be better, become the best operators they can be by upskilling. And then that gives me confidence that as a collective, we're going to grow the business and we're going to be going into new markets and we're going to be going into working with thousands of people instead of just hundreds. And, I'm very realistic that it's absolutely not and has never really been a one-man show. It's a collective effort, and that is what gives me confidence, is that we've got a really good group of people that believe that and want that, and they want their own careers to develop, because otherwise I don't think it works.
Yeah. No, it's fascinating. What about speaking of the staff, and how do you handle the pressure of now, going from you opening your own gym to being responsible for staff, for members, for the locations? How do you kind of handle that pressure?
Yeah, I think it's there's various times where that would be more stressful than others, for sure. I think we're very fortunate again. Like, we don't have too many staffing concerns. We don't have too many member issues because of, I suppose, how specific we are as well with our marketing efforts and our culture. But there's always pressure. Ultimately, you're the one that's the buck stops. You've got to pay salaries at the end of the month. You've got to keep the lights on. You're the one that's essentially taking all the risk, in the hope that it works and people love it. Yeah. So, I think... And
they do.
Yeah.
They do.
There's probably been, I don't know, 3 or 4 sleep deprived nights where I've been a bit stressed about various things as we've grown and expanded, because, for context, we've gone from, 1 gym in the first 4 years to now 5 gyms in the 5th year. So it's there's a lot of growth in a very short amount of time. So, there's naturally stressful things, and there's naturally things where you're like, oh, am I doing too much too soon? So there is that kind of question, but naturally I think if you've got a good gut and you've got that kind of test of fear and confidence with it, it'll be all right. You just got to work through it.
But it's good to hear, because ultimately you've got yourself where you are a confident person. It's good to hear that 5 years in you get those nights that, because I think sometimes folks think you get to this level of confidence where that's it, it's all good. And in the introduction I was saying about rebuilding it and losing it, and we get that now and again, which is great to hear, because it's normal, it's natural.
Absolutely. And I think the other side of that as well is the things that I may be stressed about 3 years ago, I wouldn't even give the time of day now. I wouldn't be bothered about it at all.
Could you give us an example, or is it too... Does it reveal too much?
No, I don't know. It could be stuff like when a member cancels I take it to heart. And I still do. Yeah. But if I did take it to heart every single time, it's like I've also got 750 other people that need me to be looking after them and caring for them. So if I'm annoyed, pissed off, stressed, whichever, because of this one person, it doesn't help anyone else. No. So and then equally, then you're like, right, what about the money we're spending on marketing, or the people that we're hiring, or the responsibility I'm giving to certain people? So there's all these different things that, if I went back a few years back, I'd be like, oh my God, that seems ridiculous. How would you ever manage that? And you're thrown into those positions and you just have to do it, figure it out, and more often than not, it all works out with time. And I'm sure in the next 5 years there'll be stuff that comes up and I'm like, that's ridiculous. And at this point,
you'll always be tested.
I think you have to be. You have to be kind of challenged and tested.
I think that's part of what I've learned from talking to you before, is about the growth you've gone through, that you're continually growing. So you're always going to be tested, which is, I think, again, that's important to realise. Is even no matter how confident you are, you still get tested, didn't you? You still get it. Just think, if I could take you back, you're 31 now. How's your confidence different from when you were 26 and just those 5 years ago before you opened it? What would you say is the difference in your confidence?
I would say the difference in my confidence is I'm a lot more self-assured.
Right.
And I don't mean that in an arrogant way. I just mean like I'm extremely happy, confident with me as a person and what I do, not just in work, because I think that at the time would have been, how do I build my career? And that would have been my sole focus. Like now I've got a very good work-life balance between friendships, relationships, all of that sort of stuff. And I think naturally that gives you like an all-rounded confidence away from like solely just I'm getting good at work. It's like actually no, I've got a pretty good holistic approach to how I go about day-to-day life, and it's good.
That's interesting. It is not just, because again, I think a lot of people focus on, and we talked about this in some earlier episodes, about the dimensions of confidence, where it might be I'm confident at work, I'm confident in my relationships, I'm confident in finance, whatever. But it's rare that we get someone who's confident in all areas. You kind of got to work at it, I guess, haven't you?
I think naturally with anything new or different or thing that's just a bit challenging, I think when we are not either educated or we don't have a good knowledge base on particular topics, there's always going to be a lack of confidence initially. And I think as long as you're aware of that, of like, it would be like me stepping on stage and trying to play the piano. I bought a keyboard once in COVID. I played it once and I said, I'm not doing this, send it back. So like you put me on stage to play the keyboard or piano or whatever, I'm going to be really unconfident and go, what the fuck am I doing here? But if I had 10 years of experience in that industry and I'd practice it each day and I'd had my reps and done the hours, I'd be a lot more confident by the time I did step on stage. So I think you have to be, understanding of where you're starting from with things, and it kind of comes back to that expectation setting and be like, okay, you may be unconfident, but that's probably pretty normal, and actually what you need is like skill acquisition and repetition and then the experiences to learn from that to then get more confident.
That's fair. That's exactly it. It doesn't just happen, does it?
Sadly not.
You're not born with it.
No.
You've got to work with it.
I think for some people, there's probably the natural charisma of things that maybe overshadows that. I'm relatively charismatic, and you can throw me stuff and I'll give it a go. Internally, it doesn't always mean that I'm like super confident on things. It might just be the persona that I'll show for that to work my way through it.
Like when you're stepping up to take a drive on the golf range.
No, I know that's going right. I know that's going to be a shank, so that's fine. But yeah.
So what would you say, what's something that you know about building confidence that you wish you'd known 5 years ago? Something you've learned?
Something I've learnt. I would say, patience with things. Be a bit patient than... I would be, I probably still am, to be honest, but like I want stuff done quickly. I want it to be progressive. I want to push it. To build your confidence up and to not get stressed and burnt out, and actually to learn to do things better, and then you naturally will have more confidence because of that. You do need to be a bit patient, especially if you're being, growth minded, whether that's with people, whether it's with money, whether it's with business expansion, whether it's with relationships. I think patience and self-awareness is probably a key thing. To then hopefully make better decisions and then ultimately in the long term become more confident in the relevant areas.
Excellent, thank you. You work with hundreds of gym members. What patterns do you see in the people who build lasting confidence in the gym versus those who don't?
I think for the people that see significant progress with their confidence, which in turn would then be their bodies, their minds, and hopefully their health kind of overall, I think it's the willingness to make changes and interventions when needed. You know, and I think sometimes that can be a slow burn, and it can take a bit of, you know, support to do so. But I think there has to be that willingness to make a bit of a change to somehow, some way. You know, if people are stubborn and want to keep doing the same thing and expect change, nothing will ever change and be different.
Until you change.
I can't remember what the quote is, but it's like, if you do the same thing over and over and expect something different, it's insanity or something like that.
Yeah.
So I think it's like an openness and willingness to change is kind of the key for people building their confidence. And again, just test trial and error, because it's okay to be a bit shit. It's okay to be a bit shit at stuff. And if you can build that up over time, you know, you'll be in a much better place than when you were not.
Yeah. And you can see people coming to the gym for the first time and being a bit lost, I suppose, and following the instructions. And with some of the other members that have been there a while, just they listen to the instruction for that section, but then they go on with it. And that's quite funny. But then 3 months later or something, you see those same people confident and walking to the bit where they're meant to be, and, you know, they still listen to the instruction, but they got on with it. So it's interesting. So here's some quick fire ones I've got for you. So just off the top of your head, I'm going to throw some just quick ones at you. So if you finish off what comes to mind. So number 1, confidence is?
Controllable.
The biggest myth about confidence is?
Needs to be perfect.
When I feel doubt creeping in, I?
Think logically.
And the bravest thing I've done in business is?
And the what, sorry?
The bravest thing you've done in business?
Set the first gym up.
Wow. That must have been, especially that time, I guess we didn't know it was around the corner, but all of a sudden you're faced with the biggest issues we've had in our modern times. Adam, it's been brilliant. It's been great. Just
been great.
Finding out what's been going on. And before we finish, where can people find the Barn Gym? If they're in Cambridge area or Ireland, where should they look?
Yeah, so either visit our website, which is www.thebarngyms.co.uk, or thebarngym_ on Instagram. We predominantly work with those that are in their 40s, 50s and 60s who are potentially lacking confidence, who want to improve the way they look and feel, specifically around sort of their maybe day-to-day aches and pains, and generally just to be in a good environment that people are there to support you. So, that's very much kind of where you can find us, what we do, and hopefully in new areas and markets soon.
Yeah, it's brilliant. So exciting for you. What I love about Adam's story is it proves what we've been talking about in the series. Confidence isn't something you have or you don't have. It's something you build, something you test, something you lose. Sometimes you've got to rebuild it. Adam didn't wait until he felt ready. He took action. He learned from what happened and built his confidence through evidence. 5 gyms worth of evidence. The next episode we'll be back with team confidence, when everybody needs to execute under pressure. That's what we're going to be looking at. And until then, remember, confidence isn't the absence of doubt. It's action in the presence of doubt. Adam, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.